Some people commit crimes, others just get labeled, and sometimes that label lasts a lifetime. At 7:10 a.m., Marcus Lewis stood beneath a crumbling wall, gripping a rusty nail as he stared at an abandoned warehouse. The wind shook the crooked sign above the door, and the dark circles under his eyes told stories of sleepless nights. He was a 38-year-old black man, 3 years out of prison. The crime: at 17, he used a pocket knife to defend himself during a fight in the park. The other guy survived. The system never forgave. The first thing Marcus did after his release was visit his mother's old house, but the home was sold. She had moved out of state. No letter, no address, nothing left. He applied everywhere, only to meet the same dreaded question at the bottom of every form. Have you ever been convicted of a felony? Every time he checked yes, another door slammed shut. He went hungry, slept on sidewalks. One night, he stole a single carton of milk and landed back in a holding cell. A guard smirked. "Guys like you always come back." Marcus didn't answer. His resistance wasn't loud, but it ran deep. Now, standing before this rotting shell of a building, maybe, just maybe, he had one last chance. He pulled out an old carpenter's pencil, the only thing left from his father, and carved into the rusty door, "I'm still here." That decaying, forgotten place was about to become the birthplace of something bigger than anyone imagined. Marcus worked in silence for days. No electricity, no water, just a hammer, a squeaky drill, and the echo of solitude. The scars on his wrists weren't all from handcuffs. They were the kind that sank into your soul. He pieced together old wood scraps and built a workbench, his first act of creation in years. He was completely alone. But worse than loneliness was being invisible. One day, the door creaked open. A young man stepped inside, early 20s, thin, nervous eyes, holding a fragile mix of fear and hope. "My name's Rico. I did time for theft, but now I want to build something with my hands. Please, just give me a shot." Marcus didn't respond, just watched. Rico quietly began sweeping up sawdust in the corner. The next day, Rico returned. The week after, another came. A former soldier with PTSD who had landed in prison after a fight. Then a young woman, arrested before she even turned 18, locked away for years. Soon, the warehouse wasn't just a place. It was a refuge, a space where no one asked about the past, only about potential. Marcus hung a sign on the wall. It read, "No one asks about your record here, only your courage." But outside these walls, the world wasn't ready to accept that. Not yet. By now, the workshop carried the scent of sawdust each morning. Marcus and his team worked in rhythm and in silence. Few words, but deep respect. Each of them carried the quiet weight of a past no one asked about. But the world outside wasn't ready to let them heal. One morning, the front doors were shattered, glass scattered across the floor, and on the wall, in red spray paint, a cruel message: "Criminals belong in cages." Rico stormed out, fists clenched, rage burned in his chest. Marcus gently grabbed his arm. "Have you forgotten what prison taught us? Violence is the voice of the past, but we're building a future now." Marcus replaced the broken window with a piece of salvaged wood. On it, he hung a hand-painted sign, "The Second Chance Door." Rico took a photo of it and posted it online with the caption, "They didn't give us homes, so we built one." Within hours, the post went viral, and one comment stood out from the thousands pouring in: "Real strength isn't built in muscle, it's built in heart." At the Rock, Marcus stared at the screen for a long time. His eyes welled up, but he didn't cry. That single comment whispered something he hadn't heard in years: "You're seen." Sometimes, the stones they throw become the bridge you walk on. Sunday morning, a thick cloud of sawdust still hung in the air when a black SUV pulled up to the shop. A large man stepped out. No bodyguards, no cameras, just quiet footsteps and presence. Dwayne, "The Rock" Johnson, entered the workshop without saying a word. The room froze. All eyes were on him, except Marcus. He just met Dwayne's gaze. "I'm not here to invest in you. I'm here because you inspired me." Marcus nodded slightly, then lifted his head with quiet defiance. "Everyone here has a past, but no one asks us about our future. What we build here isn't just work, it's dignity." Dwayne smiled. That day, the workshop didn't just receive new equipment, laser saws, 3D carpentry tools, safety gear. It received hope, insurance plans, training programs, and scholarships were introduced. But the real shift happened outside. For the first time, a neighbor stepped inside to offer help. A mother brought her son, asking if he could apprentice. The walls of the building grew taller, but more importantly, the walls in people's minds began to crumble. As the day came to a close, Marcus poured Dwayne a cup of tea. As he handed it over, he said the words that captured a quiet revolution. A second chance isn't about forgiveness. It's about finally being heard. Once cast aside, now they're the ones lighting the way for others. 1 year later, the building that was once a rusted-out warehouse now proudly wears its new name, the Second Chance Factory. Its colorful sign greets every visitor with warmth and dignity. Inside, it's more than just carpentry, it's restoration. Every person with a record who walks in finds more than a job. They find purpose. Marcus still arrives first every morning. He unlocks the door, pauses, and takes a deep breath before stepping inside. Because now, these walls don't just hold tools, they hold stories. The same hands once labeled criminal now build cribs, dining tables, park benches. That day, Dwayne Johnson returns. No press, no lights, no cameras, just quiet gratitude. In his hand, an old photo. Marcus standing before the broken door a year ago, shoulders heavy, eyes weary. This photo reminds me of who I used to be. I didn't build myself with muscle. I built myself with choices, and so did you. Marcus smiles, no hammer in his hand now, but his voice is firm and clear. To truly see someone isn't about investing in them. It's about acknowledging their humanity. This factory doesn't just craft wood, it crafts respect. Young apprentices gather at the front. Volunteer mentors write new rules on the wall in chalk. We don't talk about the past here, we build the future. Later that evening, Marcus steps outside and nails a fresh wooden plaque above the entrance. Handwritten on it, driving a nail is easy. Pulling out judgment, that takes real craftsmanship. As the camera slowly pulls back from the factory, Marcus's voice echoes over the final scene. I didn't write a survival story. I rewrote myself. And now I speak not just for me, but for every voice that's ever been silenced like mine.